Hi everyone, my name is Sydney Hickman, and today we are going to investigate the modern theorist Albert Bandura and his social cognitive theory. So first we're going to look into the life of Bandura. So Albert Bandura was born on December 4th, 1925 in a small town called Bandura in Alberta, Canada. He was the youngest boy of 6 children, and his parents were immigrants from Eastern Europe, specifically Poland and Ukraine. Bandura began his education when his family relocated to Mundare. He went into the school district and graduated from Mundare High School, where he later continued his education at the University of British Columbia. He graduated there in 1949 with the Bulacan Award in Psychology. Shortly after, he decided to continue his education and get his master's in psychology at the University of Iowa in 1951, and he also got his PhD in clinical psychology in 1952. So a little bit later on in his life, he worked very hard and established the social cognitive theory. The social cognitive theory describes the influence of individual experiences, the actions of others, and environmental factors on individual health behaviors. It provides opportunities for social support through instilling expectations, self-efficacy, and using observational learning and other reinforcements to achieve behavior change. So let's take a look at Bandura's influencers. 3 of his main influencers included Clark L. Hull, Kenneth Spence, Neil E. Miller. Clark L. Hull was an American psychologist with ties to the social learning theory. Based on my research, all 3 are tied to Albert Bandura because of the social learning theory. You can see that Kenneth Spence was another American psychologist, and Neil E. Miller was another American psychologist, but he focused more on experimental psychology. So taking a look at some implications, it's kind of interesting to see a theory that was created quite a while ago and where it is today and how it impacts our classrooms today. So with the 21st century classrooms, this theory can be seen by educators applying and working with students on the human agency, the self-regulation, self-efficacy. All 3 of these play such an essential role in having a successful classroom. Ultimately, it allows teachers to communicate with their students effectively, see where they're coming from, and kind of see what educators can do to help those students learn in the best way possible. So another take on that, for my future classroom, I would apply the social cognitive theory by implementing observational learning. So really leading by example, having my students lead by example, which eventually will spread to other students. Establishing expectations with them. So really just having a clear understanding of what is expected from them when they're in my classroom, what's expected of them for the course in general. And then last, having proper reinforcements. This doesn't always necessarily mean punishment or having anything with a negative connotation. It could be both positive and negative at the same time, but just also communicating effectively and in the right way with the students so they don't feel worse about themselves when they're being. Ultimately, how you handle reinforcements with students with positive behavior and negative behavior truly impacts them and their education and future education. With the social cognitive theory, it wasn't always perfect, and there were some criticisms, and people had different ideas of how it could be better or how it should have been different. Just to go through a few of those that I found during my research, we had one that criticize the theory because it assumed changes in the environment will automatically lead to changes in the person, which might not always happen. Second, based on the dynamic relationship between the person, behavior, and environment, just because those three factors are tied together doesn't always equal the end result. Next, it put focus on the process of learning, and it didn't investigate what might influence behaviors outside of experience. So you have a student with experience that's kind of leading them down a direction in their education, but there might be other influences in their life that are driving that behavior. And last, the social cognitive theory did not touch on emotion or motivation of individuals. So a student's emotions, their motivation to succeed, or their lack of motivation to succeed, and the impact on that person. Thank you all for your time. My last slide just goes over some of my references. If there are any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thanks for tuning in.